Warren Sharp, as Stugatz mentioned, these numbers are crazy. So he joins us now on ESPN Radio. He wrote this article. It's gotten a lot of traction, this article. Thank you for joining us, Warren. What would you tell us is the most jarring number you discovered in your data hunt?
The most shocking finding is undoubtedly the fact that starting in the season of 2007 through present, the New England Patriots are so far away from the normal curve that in terms of the number of fumbles that they have per offensive play that they run, that it's like winning a raffle where you have a 0.000171 chance of winning that raffle, meaning it's extremely just strange and rare that a team would be that far off the curve.
So are you making correlation, causation between this recent controversy and their ability to hold on the football?
There is, what I believe is going on is there certainly is correlation between what we are finding out today from the balls being deflated and potentially investigations back earlier in the season. I think this is something that has been ongoing and started in the 2007 season. That said, the data alone obviously does not tell us that they were holding on to the football solely because they were deflating football since 2007. However, we do know that in 2006, Tom Brady lobbied the NFL and was successful along with some other quarterbacks in getting the rule changed for the road quarterbacks to bring their own footballs and doctor them as they so desired.
Why do you think they're better at it than everyone else?
There's absolutely no way to put into words because so far everything that I have seen, it does not, every excuse that there has been made does not make sense to me from a numbers perspective based on the data. You hear that Bill Belichick is the reason because of his coaching, he has allowed his players to have fewer fumbles. The fact of the matter is they were right at the league average from 2000 to 2006, right in the middle of the league that entire year. And suddenly in 2007, they jumped dramatically. It was a dramatic jump in 2007. They actually, per carry, they were fumbling 39 times, 39 offensive plays per fumble in 2006. In 2007, that number increased to 76 offensive plays per fumble. And it stayed at a high level the rest of since 2007 onward. So clearly there is something that is going on there with regard to that point in time in 2000, between the 2006 season and the 2007 season.
Warren, as Dan said earlier, the numbers are jarring. So do me a favor, explain to the audience, and to me, by the way, in a way they'll understand how good the Pats are at not fumbling as opposed to the rest of the NFL.
Well, it's easy to explain it, but to really grasp it and appreciate it, you really kind of have to look at the images because those really depict exactly how far away they are from the NFL average. But I'll try to explain it like this. I worked with a data scientist at Zest Finance, his name is John Candido, to come up with some of these numbers after I researched all the math and was shocked by what I found. I approached him. He basically ran some analyses and said that the results that the Patriots have gotten, if we're going to assume that it's just random fluctuation and no foul play is up, that they would get these results just once in 5,842 instances, which equates to this extremely low probability for something like this to occur. They are so far outside the realm. I can describe it like this. They right now are averaging approximately, since 2007, 74 touches per fumble. The NFL average is around 48. And most of the teams are in this bell-shaped curve. Now, dome teams have a bit of an advantage in this statistic, obviously, because they aren't impacted by weather, so weather doesn't play a role. And so you have to remove dome teams when you're talking about them. But compared to all other outdoor teams, they are so abnormally high at not fumbling the ball that something is going on in the data. It is not by random chance that they would be at this level. And I don't think that we've, prior to this analysis, really looked and paid attention to what about the fumbles. And once we've uncovered this data, there's no arguing that something is going on here with these numbers, and we have to get down to the root cause of what that could be.
So you do what with all of this information? You think they're cheating?
I don't know specifically that they are cheating, but I do know what they aren't doing. It is not Bill Belichick coaching his players to not fumble, because every coach does that, and we saw such a stark change in the 2007 season. I also know that it's not as a result of coaching or some secret technique for carrying the football, because the players from New England who leave New England and go to other teams go back to fumbling a ton. So it's not the players they bring in, because these players fumbled historically, then they come to New England and they just don't fumble very much at all. It's also not the fact that he benches every single person who fumbles, because I've gone back and looked at the statistics. He actually plays a number of players who have had fumbling issues in the past. You just don't notice it as much as you may notice Stephen Ridley, but there are a number of players who have played for Bill Belichick who have fumbled more frequently than Ridley had, who play multiple seasons in New England. So it's none of those situations that are causing this. And we obviously see something change in 2006. It was the ball deflation, not the ball deflation, but the ability for the road quarterbacks to control the ball. Other than that, we have to figure out what else could have occurred between 2006 and 2007 that would have allowed the Patriots to hang on to the football as much as they are. The ball deflation certainly would be a prime suspect, but more analysis would be required, not from a data perspective. We know what the data shows. Now we've given the league and other people who would investigate all the clues they need. Now they just have to use them and actually look at the data. Don't worry about just this season. You got to go back a lot further than that, because something has been going on for years now.
Warren, you're being really fair. You are being super responsible. You are letting the facts speak for themselves and not jumping to anything in the way of conclusions. But it sounds to me like you feel like you've got something close to a smoking gun here with your data. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. There is absolutely no other analysis that's being displayed online anywhere that I've seen that is as compelling as what this data right here shows. This data is absolutely point blank infallible from the perspective that you are not going to find anything else that is so blatant that something is going on there. Then looking at this data, and it's so easy to digest it, there isn't a whole lot that I've done to the data. It's just a simple fact that I decided to look there, and I ended up finding it, and now I'm sharing it to as many people who will listen. I just hope that it gets out there to the right people and to enough people so that people actually take notice, because these findings are extremely rare. And as I mentioned before, the data scientist who looked over this, his jaw immediately dropped when he saw these numbers. He studies mortgages for a living, all types of data, day in and day out. And this was so rare for a team to be such an outlier that, he knew something was wrong immediately.
What are the possible holes in your data? What can someone say? And by the way, you can check out the article at slate.com. Where else can you check it out? Are there other places that people can find it?
My website is sharpfootballanalysis.com, so that article, as well as a myriad of other previous articles on the same topic, are over there at sharpfootballanalysis.com.
Sharpfootballanalysis.com. The fairest criticism of your data, the fairest hole, or something that could look like a hole in your data would be what?
The biggest thing I think that could be looked at as a whole would be this data includes every single offensive play as well as punt and kick returns. So if you assume that New England fumbles at the same rate on kick returns and punt returns as the rest of the NFL, then that's irrelevant. But you could pull out kick and punt returns from this data and just look at the other plays, though I really do not think that you're going to come to any different conclusion. There are a number of suggestions. I mean, this story has crashed my server multiple times since I released the initial article last Thursday, and this is the culmination of it, which I released today. The site has been moved to a variety of different servers, but there has been a myriad of suggestions and ideas proposed about what we could look at next. It seems like this is definitely catching the interest of the common football fan, because they've seen all the people talk about it on TV, and initially they probably got sick and tired of hearing about it. But I can't tell you how many people have said, I thought Deflategate was over. I didn't think it was a big deal, but then I actually looked at this data that you prepared, and I realized that this is something that we need to look at more.
Yeah,
it's pretty exciting in that context.
You're covering it better than anybody. I've been making fun of this story for 5 days, but what you have produced here is something that is an actual evolution of the story. You're actually bringing data to this that other people, facts, information that other people are not bringing. Thank you, Warren, for making the time for us.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Warren.